Week number 8, news and notes. We're breaking down Bucky, his situation. Don't know whether he'll be able to play or practice this week. Trending toward missing football until after the bye, but we'll talk about that. Igbuka obviously goes up tremendously in value with Mike Evans being done for 6 to 8 weeks, maybe the majority of the fantasy football season, if not the entirety of the regular season in the NFL. We got Deebo Samuel updates. We've got Joe Alt updates, which impacts all those Charger players, including Justin Herbert. He needs some protection. We've got a whole bunch of other news and notes. The Fantasy Football Show week number 8 begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live whenever news breaks. Live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, like this show right now. And then live at midnight Eastern almost every single night. So we've got a lot to go over in a very short period of time. Then we're going to get to some super chats, maybe open up the phone lines. The first one I want to start off with is the Bucky Irving news. Todd Bowles talking about Bucky's foot and shoulder and Chris Godwin's fibula, saying that both are getting better, but didn't know whether either are in play to return to practice this week. That definitely does not sound like they're playing in week number 8. So we're probably looking for the bye week and then them to return after the bye week, week 10. So that's a disappointing outcome for sure. But at least we're going to get healthy Bucky, no, recidivism, no falling back into, an injury or whatever. We're going to get a fully healthy Bucky Irving. I think that's the concept here. And, we've seen Bucky Irving from week 10 on become a top 9 running back in fantasy football off of just that production. So if anybody's wanting to run away from Bucky, pretend like Bucky can't be a dominant force, pretend like Bucky's a bust of any kind, that's ridiculous. But I do believe that if you're 1 win in, 2 wins in, you don't have more than 2 wins, maybe even 3 wins, you might have to look to explore trading Bucky for a safer now playing option, especially a bye week free option like Roma Dunze and another player. So you get that player in Roma Dunze who is bye week free, and then an additional running back, Scattaboo, something of that nature. We've got other players that you could go digging into. Maybe you're pretty comfortable at running back. Maybe you were handed Rico Dowdle through your amazing waiver wire astuteness, and you could then put Dowdle into the running back 2. You've got a running back 1. Maybe you traded for 1. Maybe you drafted 1. And then you end up trading Bucky for Lamar or Josh Allen, like the video that I put out this morning. Go watch it. Explains that you can essentially win a league going and getting Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson if you've got even the right combination of build around these two players, because they're week winning players. Week in and week out, they can single-handedly, with the bye week out of the way, Josh Allen and Lamar could single-handedly win you a week. No bye week, just absolute terrorizing your opponents, and they can single-handedly win you a week, one at a time. Boom, boom, boom. So there's scenarios where someone should trade Bucky, and there's scenarios where somebody should not trade Bucky. But we have seen this exact formula and recipe before. Bucky weeks 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That is 8 weeks of football. That is 8 weeks of a player that gets 100, 150 total yards in a game. Touchdown almost every game or whatever. I'm talking about a player that can rush for 800 yards in that amount of time. I'm talking about a player that can get you well over 900 to 1,000 yards in a short 8 game period. And he still accrued stats all the way up to his injury. But I'm merely pointing out that if you've got 5 wins, 4 wins, or if you're a team that's 5, 6 wins and you don't have Bucky, you go get him and you wait on him, because this man can be a top 5 running back the entirety of weeks 10 through 17, which is a longer period of time than people think, especially if you're winning, if you're doing good things. Now, Bucky's one story. I don't think Godwin's going to be any use to anybody. But this whole thing, Mike Evans going down and Buka coming back just in the nick of time and getting a massive amount of targets, even though Buka didn't, he didn't have the biggest game we would have liked. It was not his fault. Baker was off. Baker was flustered. Baker was frustrated. Baker was not in his bag. But this man Buka was doing everything he could to get open for Baker. Baker overthrew him. There were 2 touchdowns that should have been connected on between Baker and Ibuka that did not get connected on. Any box score Bobby out there watching the damn game and saying, all right, prepare for take 1. All right, action.
He's a box score Bobby. He's a little sloppy. Box score Bobby. He's a
box score Bobbies think that Ibuka played badly. Box score Bobbies think that Buka can't, he can't continue the pace he was on. Look, Buka almost had 2 touchdowns. Buka would have had 102 in this game had Baker just connected with him on 2 pretty solid opportunities. It'll be glory going forward. Buka's the sole provider of this receiving room, and if you remember back to a lot of my Buka takes in the August and even earlier time frame, we talked a lot about how there's a really good chance all these people going, oh, once Godwin comes back, things are going to change. I kept saying week in and week out, and especially before week 1 even kicked off, that it would not shock me in the slightest to have a Buka as the only wide receiver of the 3 playing like at midseason or something. And because Evans is older, Godwin's an walking injury, and he's proving that to be true. And here we are. Now Buka's the sole provider in this electric offense that, am I worried a little bit about Baker's performance? A little bit worried about why he was so off, but players have bad games. It happens all the time. Josh Allen's had bad games. It happens all the time. Lamar's had bad games. I think at the end of the day, this is a solid football team that's proven week in and week out that they're as good as anybody. And Baker's been in the MVP conversations all the way up to that game. And some people might still want to put him in that conversation, as they should. And Tez Johnson's going to step up pretty nicely. Bucky coming back. The offensive line getting healthier. I don't think people realize that the Bucs are extremely injured, not just in the wide receiver room, but offensive line. From the running back stable, top to bottom. Rachaad White did okay, but he's not a world star. He's not a world beater. He's not somebody that is electric like Bucky. If Bucky and the offensive line and Buka all come together, that's enough. And Baker's been doing it without all of his wide receivers and continues to play at an MVP level aside from week number 7. I think Tez Johnson, Buka, I think it's going to be fine. You got McMillan potentially coming back maybe in the next handful of weeks, but that's not a guarantee. Either way, Tez looks pretty solid. Otten will step up. Otten's always stepped up when he's needed to. So I'm very much a buyer of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer players if your team is built in a way that it's conducive and helpful and not a detriment to be sitting here without Bucky for 2 weeks and then you're not even in the playoffs anyway. So you got to be careful what you're working with. If you need to trade Bucky away because you got 2 wins, you can't wait 2 weeks, you probably need to trade him. And we can hook something up, figure something out, cook it up for you. But if you are a 5-win, 6-win team, especially a 7-win team, you should be knocking on the door of the Bucky owner, because what are the odds that the Bucky owner's winning anything more than a 3-4 win type of record? I don't think anybody with Bucky's probably at 5 wins. Maybe they are. It depends on the Grandma League. And my people, if you own Bucky in my community, sure, because you built properly. But I'm saying, of you guys looking at other teams outside of this community, you're looking at somebody that owns Bucky that isn't a follower of this show. I venture to say they got 3 wins. I venture to say that they'd be lucky to have 4 wins. I venture to say they have 2, 3, maybe 4 wins, and that's where the range falls in. And that means that they're susceptible, and they're sitting there with Bucky going, what in the hell do I do? And you're going to provide the solution. And maybe you can give them something that helps them. I'm not saying that you have to completely rip them off. Although you're always trying to work somebody over on a trade, not this even Steven nonsense. Oh, you make every trade even so they come back. I don't care. I'm about one trade at a time. I'm about one lambasting at a time. So, Bucky's attainable. Go get Bucky. Buka, good luck trying to get him. Certainly, the game last night might put a potential lower price tag on Buka's head than he would have had he had a big game. So you got to look at that. And the Buka owners also been sitting without him for so long. They might be a little scared and skittish of Baker's play with the fact that Evans went down. You got people saying, oh, Evans and Godwin, what about when they come back? It's going to be too crowded. Now you got people complaining, without Evans and Godwin, now everybody's going to double team Buka. Like, make up your mind about how you want to complain about how Buka won't continue to do well because you don't have him in enough leagues and you're really bent out of shape over it. That's what I smell. Your take reeks of, I just didn't get him. Let's get these $200 super chats handled, because we've got $1 or $50 from Rudy before we continue on. Rudy, appreciate your $50 hauler. I'm going to set that one right here, young man. Then we got this, we got $20 from Daniel. Daniel, appreciate you. We got Sean with a $100 hauler. Sean wants immediate attention, so Sean's going to get it. Sean, appreciate you. And then Daniel will get to your $20 super chat once we get through the news, which won't take much longer. Let's go to this $100 hauler first. Everybody's pretty. Appreciate you.
Smitty. Everybody's pretty. I don't even know.
And keep in mind, there's still a shot Bucky does return. It's just the comments from Bulls make me think, he's not sure if they'll practice this week. But practicing would lead to playing. But it seems like we're a slight, ways away from that. Hey, Smitty, I'm 4-3. We start 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 1 flex. I have Mahomes, Woody, Vidal, Buka, Jettas, MHJ, McBride, Kincaid, Carter, Joy. Trade McBride for 2 pieces and start Kincaid. I'm fine with that avenue. 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Okay. Appreciate you, my boy, Sean. I definitely would consider this. Now, Buka, Jettas, I'm not moving that. Mahomes, not moving that. I love the idea of getting Rice, bro. I don't know that Rice is going to be very attainable anymore, but man, I would have loved to have had Mahomes and Rice connect on this. But that's going to be hard to do. You're probably going to have to do some buy low, sell high. I do love the idea at 4-3, still trying to get bye week free players. So if you were to maybe poke around at a player like James Cook right now, coming off a bye week and some bad games, might make somebody bite on a McBride. So you could get, like, let's say, a James Cook and something maybe from McBride. Or if it was straight up, I'd understand that move, actually. If you're going to go after like 2 players, I think some players that fit the bill would be potentially a London bye week free, a Dunze bye week free. Igbuka is going to be hard to get, but I think it's doable. I think you could do that straight up. I know that there have been scenarios I've seen the last like 24 hours where it's kind of shocking the 1-for-1 treatment that Buka is getting, but it's not going to be everywhere. It's going to be in select situations. Derrick Henry bye week free with another additional wide receiver. I've seen people, as I said, get James Cook on the cheap. Judkins is probably off the table. Kyron and something is possible. Kyron alone is possible. Achane alone is possible. Henry, like I said, Genty and something, Henry and something are all possible. Sean, I'd explore all those, honestly. And somebody might look at McBride and say, this is a big difference maker. And it is. There's no doubt you're giving somebody a great producing player at a very, very weak position overall in fantasy football. So it's a strategic advantage, a positional advantage. I definitely would explore it. And I think all those players fit the bill. Scattaboo, even a little cheaper than he probably should be. ETN's a big risk. Jacobs would be nice, but I don't think you're getting Jacobs straight up for McBride, but you never know until you try. And James Cook, like I said, James Cook, Henry, Barkley, and something big, but Barkley needs to be bought at seller dollar pricing, meaning I don't even consider Barkley for McBride. I consider Barkley and another piece that this guy shouldn't be giving me for my McBride, but taking a gamble on Barkley in that sense. But that's Bucky would also be intriguing if you were to trade McBride. And let's say you were to give something else in return just to make this 2 for 2 seem a little bit more plausible. Like, let's say you traded MHJ and McBride. You got rid of the Cardinal boys, which honestly is not a bad idea. And you were to get, let's say, a Kyron. Now you can go get another big piece. Or let's say you were going after a Scattaboo. You could probably get a really nice wide receiver upgrade. You could buy Bucky. You could buy Nico. You could buy one. I don't know if I'd buy both of them at 4 and 3, but you buy Bucky and something for McBride and MHJ. And that something is going to be pretty lucrative. And even though you're waiting on Bucky, the thing that you're getting, hopefully, is bye-week free, a Dunze, whatever, to help compensate for the waiting on Bucky and not putting you in a hole at 4 and 3. Sean, hopefully that all helped you. Appreciate you very much. If you have follow-ups, let me know. I'm 4 and 3. This one's from Rudy. Rudy wants a $20 holler. He says,
Super chat alert.
Rudy, appreciate you. 4 and 3, Dart, Purdy, Rice, London, Flowers, Ladd, Nico, Javonte, Scat, Gibbs, Warren. I can get Allen plus BTJ for Nico and London. That's not that you're way overpaying because BTJ, we don't even know what BTJ is. We don't know how injured he is. We don't know how long he'll be out. He's got a bye week, so they're just going to be coy about it all. It's very, very vague as to how many games he's going to miss. Could it be just the 1 or 2 games? Could it be no games? I mean, it's probably going to be some time. But what's it all? We don't have a lot of information right now. We're really waiting on some of that. At the end of the day, I'm going to tell you that I think it's probably best to not go down a road where you're sending 2 bye-week free players, even though Nico is going to essentially take an injury bye this coming week, likely. It's still not the best idea to trade those 2 players when you got a pretty successful playing Dart right now. You know, so it's kind of like you're taking a big bath. Let's see here. I can get Allen BTJ for Nico London or Mahomes for Nico Pollard. I don't mind that trade as much, but you do have Jackson Dart playing really well. Like, if you could trade Dart for a player, then I'm actually intrigued by this because you're really doing something different if you could get rid of Dart right now. And Dart's an exciting player to acquire and to pick up, and so I imagine that trading him for a pretty decent playing player, a solid guy that you could throw right into your lineup, and then when you put Mahomes and said player into this mix, then it starts looking better. But the other thing I would probably say, though, is if you were to maybe trade Nico for Mahomes, you're giving too much up to go Pollard and ETN. If anything, I want Mahomes and something still for Nico alone. Because if you think about a draft in a 1 QB, you're not drafting, even though Mahomes is playing way above his pay grade, and we said he would. We said he would be explosive. We said this would be the top 3 QB season Mahomes is going to drop. We said he'd do it last year. Then he got struck with injuries across his wide receiver room. And now he's back, baby. Now he's doing what we said he would do, and he's doing it live. But that doesn't mean you draft him ahead of Nico. Now, Nico's got a concussion. Nico's didn't tear his ACL, didn't tear his shoulder. He's got a concussion. It could be 1 game. But he's still bye-week free. So, in a sense, he's missing a game. Mahomes will miss a game. It's kind of even Steven at the end of the day. And so, if you're drafting Nico way ahead of Mahomes, maybe not way ahead, but ahead of Mahomes, why would you trade it straight up? So, you got to get more. You throwing in Pollard at ETN is the exact opposite of that. So, I'm going to say stand down on that trade. I do like the idea of getting Mahomes, though. But I don't think I'm doing these moves. You got a 4 and 3 team that has Nico, London, Ladd, Javonte, Gibbs. I don't know why you're listing Gibbs third. It's really disrespectful to put Gibbs as your third running back. I know you don't feel that way, but like to list him that way, you know, it's like it's like showing your home and not mowing the yard. You know, you're trying to sell it, but you're really putting together a really sloppy job of presentation. You know, you got this team right here. This guy Gibbs, Javonte, and Scat. And you're putting Gibbs. Are you putting Warren in the proper spot? You did. You slotted him as the tight end 1. But you didn't slot Gibbs as the running back 1. All I'm saying is this is a pretty disrespectful situation I'm looking at here, Rudy. And I appreciate your $50. This is a $50 holler, by the way, not a $20 holler. What did I say?
Give me $50.
Let's show the real estate in a very cleaned up, proper setting. Let's be very, very strategic about how we get people to analyze this so we get the proper full treatment. You know what I'm saying? So your team is so good right now. I don't think I mess with much. Dart's playing really well. Do I try and get Mahomes? I do. But am I doing it in a different way? I am. I like you could give up Scat for Mahomes if you wanted. And I'm not saying I even like doing that or don't like doing that, but that's really where I'm going. Javonte is playing out of his mind. I could consider doing a Mahomes Javonte swap, but I'm not doing necessarily a Nico swap. I do believe Nico, once he's back, is still a top 15 overall player. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe people like Javonte more. But Scat and Mahomes, even though I love Scat, that's more of a realistic move. So that's probably what I would advise. If they want a wide receiver, then I would at least get something back. You know, I'm not going to do that straight up. Rudy, appreciate your super chat. But the best thing you could do is stand down. Owner is ready. Allen owner is ready. Mahomes owner is still negotiating. The Allen owner is ready, but the Allen owner is taking advantage of you. I think. Chad, can we get a vote on this one? Can I just get a vote on it? Allen and BTJ, with everything we know about BTJ and everything we don't know, for Nico and London. Can I just get a vote on that? I just want to make sure you guys agree with me, and I'm not completely off base on this. But me looking at it, I'm like, how are you gonna win if you get Josh Allen when Dart's playing great? Dart's QB3 2 weeks in a row. I'm not saying he continues that, but I don't know how we overlook that and take away these two wide receivers from your lineup, and BTJ's not in there. Like, how's that gonna help you at 4-3? So Nico London, yeah, okay. The whole chat agrees. I just wanted to get like triple confirmation. Rudy, you getting ripped off on that one. Don't do the Josh Allen deal. All right, let's get back to the news real quick. Then we'll get straight to the super chats and then the phone calls. Aaron Jones, not good for Mason owners. Mason's been kind of a sell high for me the last handful of weeks. As you've noticed, when people will ask questions, I'll be like, let's trade Mason. He's not like the best receiving back, on top of the fact that Aaron Jones has been lingering, and you know, there's just a little bit of limitation to Mason. If their game script is a certain way, he gets game scripted out. And now Aaron Jones designated to return from injured reserve. Not sure how much work he would get even if he comes back ASAP, but it certainly does put a little bit of a damper on the situation over in Minnesota. So understand that. We've got this report from Ashton Genty. This isn't good. It's also like nice to see, but it's also like pretty devastating to see. Genty was interviewed and asked about the culture in LV, and is it the losing culture? And his response was pretty I don't know, just it's definitely depressing. He looks depressed. His answer's depressing. The output's been depressing. The promises and then breaking the promises have been depressing. And when asked about the losing culture after losing to the Chiefs, this quote right here, Genty says, if we're being honest, it's been a losing culture around here for a long time. And he says it in a very down and beaten down way. And then when they say, is the bye week going to help? You could tell he was going in a direction like, no, why would it? This is a losing environment and we're not going to win. But he curbed it and he said, I think the guys need time off and just to recuperate. Like he did it. You could tell he didn't know where to go with the answer. He wanted to continue to be honest because he says, if we're being honest, and he says it's been a losing culture for a while, but then you can tell he cuts the honesty off because he realizes he's going down a road he probably shouldn't go down. And it's a shame. This is a winner. And everything that I predicted about him is the same thing that happened with Bijan his rookie year, rinse and repeat. I still believe he could finish like Bijan did, running back 9, running back 8, running back 10. Could it be higher? It could be if things turned around drastically with the addition of Brock Bowers to the roster, which is something we need to strongly consider as a component here that gets grossly overlooked. That when Brock Bowers returns, that's like taking Jamar Chase and putting him back on the Bengals after an extended absence. You're going to judge the Bengals' performance, everyone involved without Jamar Chase? Yeah, you are. And for some reason, we're not talking enough about how this situation. Look, someone said they dropped another. Let's see, we got another. We got $20 from Daniel. Daniel, appreciate you. We've got G Money dropping a $20 one. Smitty, we dropping Hendo? No, we're not. Where was I? So, Genty, Bowers back is going to be a drastic difference in the offense and the ability for even a Geno. Not saying Geno is going to be amazing, but to get the game script from continuing to go in a direction where this guy gets 6 carries by like halftime and then gets no more carries like the rest of the game. I think I checked like the beginning of the third quarter. It was like 6 carries. I'm like, geez, man. And then at the end of the game, I check the number. I mean, I'm watching it, but I'm like, did he not? Did I miss something? Like what? 6 carries. Like what are we doing? Brock Bowers will change some of that, but it is still a very losing culture. And I do strongly believe that everything we predicted about Genty, in the same context and way that I was too early on Bijan, we're probably going to see that with Genty. Is Genty a bust? No, he's not. Anybody saying Genty's a bust doesn't know ball. They're frustrated, they're flustered, they're trying to take their anger out on something, and they're lashing out. To say that the Raiders are trash and can't put this man in a good position, that is accurate. That is the way you describe it. To describe Genty as a bust or suggest that he's trash or that he's not as good as people projected, you are a box score Bobby. And all you're doing is regurgitating box scores. Because this is a monster. He barrels over people when he's given the work, the proper attention. He dominates. And he's done that this year. But we have to be a reality checking, people. And the reality check here is that he's not getting carries, proven by 6 carries last week. So I don't know what to say here. I do buy low because buying low is wise because he's extremely low, but we just don't know what this looks like moving forward. There's no way to promise that he'll be consistent, but I do know that he will show signs of life. I do know that he has the capability easily to finishing the season as a top 8 running back if he gets on his horse here at the final stretch. And remember that a guy like this can run for 120 yards a game in the pretty much 120 yards a game for the final 8 games of the year and finish easily inside the top 8 running backs. That's the kind of player this is. Bucky did it weeks 10 on, ended up being 9th in rushing yards. So it's very, very, very easy for Genty to fix and right the ship here for the most part. So buying low after not enduring all of the ups and downs in a particular league is a very wise choice and gamble to make. The odds of him having probably an improved rest of the season with Bowers back is those are good odds. So you can take this for what you want. You can be frustrated on the situation all you want, but it doesn't necessarily make him not a good player to go get. Max Crosby could be traded is a lot of the talk today. It's possible that the Dallas Cowboys try and fix and right their wrongs. Jerry trying to make up for what he didn't do right with Parsons and how he mishandled that situation. If they get Max Crosby in a trade, that would completely correct everything. And that's a wonderful way to look at it, right? And if the Dallas Cowboys get Max Crosby, this changes everything for this team's potential playoff outlook. The Dallas Cowboys are balling on offense. They're doing a great job. They could definitely use a Max Crosby. Is Crosby a player that could be traded? Maybe. It depends on how the Raiders decide to fold this thing up. I don't know. I would say, well, this is pending. I don't know that there's a guarantee But according to Schefter, Rappaport, they've been talking about Dallas Cowboys being very likely, not a guarantee, but a very likely team to go trade for a big defensive piece before the November 4th deadline. So we'll definitely be staying on top of that. Joe Alt, as I mentioned, practiced on Tuesday, and having him, healthy and ready to go for this game will be tremendous for the production across the board, from keeping Herbert upright to getting accurate throws to getting Ladd McConkey back on track. I still think Ladd is one of the better buy low wide receivers in fantasy, even if people are disappointed in him. I get it. I still love Ladd McConkey. And this is a guy that said don't draft him because people drafted him too high, and that was correct information. We're buying cellar dweller pricing. We're not buying Ladd McConkey at draft day pricing. So even if I'm wrong, it doesn't matter. You're getting him at a very cheap discount. This man's snap percentage, Travis Hunter, is going through the roof as BTJ's injured, but he is on a bye this week, so you can't really use this. This exciting unveiling of Hunter now gets put on hold, and momentum gets slowed. But look at the last 4 weeks of football: 57, 64, 79, 86% snap share as a wide receiver. Awesome to see that out of Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is definitely on the rise walking into the remaining part of the season once he returns from his bye week. So fire up Hunter. Hunter's going to be a great piece for you. A lot of Raiders, trade talk. Obviously, that's why Genty's down. That's why the whole organization's, looking cheeks right now. Jacoby Myers says for sure still desires to be traded. I mean, this is just a mess of a situation over in LV. Terry McLaurin, quad has the plan is to have McLaurin and Debo have full practices this week, and if that happens, then that would be good. And then we need potentially JD5, that situation to get better before we can really maximize the production here. But this would be good for Mariota if he did start to get these boys back. And at least you got the weaponry there to absorb any amount of missed games that might be coming downstream from the JD5 injury. More to come on JD5. We do know that JD5's injury is not serious, but that doesn't mean it can't be a week thing, 2 week thing. We've heard that before. Bowers' injury wasn't serious. When's the last time we saw Bowers? Penix Jr.'s injury was not a foot or an ankle, by the way. If anybody's curious about Penix Jr., it's a lot less serious injury than it was originally thought. Penix Jr. is now very, very much, you could almost say hour to hour, not day to day anymore. So Penix Jr. fully expected to suit up for week number 8, which is great news for Bijan and the boys in London. And it's a remarkable matchup. What is the Miami Dolphins this week? So Penix Jr. should have an electric bounce back performance, as should everybody involved. That might just be the case for us with the Atlanta Falcons. There could be some, when it's a tough matchup, some disappointment to some degree at one part or another in the offense. Not that Bijan is ever going to be truly disappointing, but I think the explosions and the amazing production across the board for a Falcons offense will come during good matchups, and it might be a little tougher sledding during others, and that just might be the team that we have this year, and the development or the lack of development in Penix Jr., to be honest, this year. It's been a little underwhelming, and hopefully he still can progress. According to ESPN, Jets are moving toward naming Tyrod Taylor the starter. In fact, that might have actually happened while we've been live. But this has been a Jets decision, or a Jets head coaching decision, according to the owner, who Woody talked about Fields in a very disrespectful way. And you can't blame him, but it is disrespectful. He's like, if we just had a quarterback complete a pass, and when you got a quarterback, he says, like that, they can't do this and that, you can't win. I just hope Fields, and I'm not saying Fields is fixable at this point. Fields, unfortunately, and this is not all Fields' fault. He's been dealt very horrible situations, one after the other. And it doesn't really matter, though, right? Because the production is what matters, and he's broken for 3 straight situations. How can he be fixed? I don't know. But is he better than Geno? Yeah, so trade him to the Raiders and see what happens there. I mean, at the very least, on the way out the door, before you put the nail in the coffin, let's just see. Let's just see. Send him over to LV. But looks like Tyrod Taylor is probably inching toward a start. And Superflex, you got to keep that in mind. Carson Wentz, shoulder will start Minnesota's Week 8 game against the Chargers. Probably better for JJ, but we'll see what McCarthy can do once he gets in there. That's all the news. Let me go through all these super chats, and then we'll tackle some phone calls potentially. So let me get into these supers real quickly. Let's put Joe. Joe, appreciate you with the $20 holler on screen, my guy. Let me set that bad boy right there. This is Ming. Ming, appreciate your $20 holler. I'm going to set you right there, young man. Appreciate you with the super chat. Then we got Ray G Money. G Money with the $20 holler. G Money, appreciate you, young man. And then let's see what else we got. I think there was another 20 in here that I need to throw on screen. Oh yeah, Daniel is the first one that we need to address. Daniel, appreciate your $20 super chat. I'll handle these 20s and then we'll get straight into the remainder of the super chats, then get right into some phone calls. Also keep tabs on the news as we're live. Daniel taking a little victory lap with the 12-man Smitty squad. Nix, Gibbs, Judkins, JSN, Adams, Rice, McBride gave me 232. Holy smokes, bro. That ain't even a super flex league. That's not even like a big, I can tell it's not even one of those leagues with like the 17 starters. It's just a normal kind of fantasy football lineup. Nix, Gibbs, Judkins, JSN, Adams, Rice, McBride, 232. Mashed potatoes. Let's go. Jeez. That's insane, bro. That's crazy. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate your $20 holler. I wish I'd have read that one earlier when I was just flying through. Hey, Smitty, this team is 5-2, 12-man, half PPR, QB, JD5 May. May's great. Yeah, I know I've been saying for a week now to trade JD5 or Drake May. Might be hard to trade JD5 or really trade either one because of the injury. But you still got to try. And Drake May's just safer. But I don't know if anybody's going to ambulance chase on JD5. I think somebody might. So you just got to explore that. Kyron and Bijan's fantastic. Ibuka will be fine. Debo's beholden to JD5. And that hasn't gone exactly to plan. Should I trade away May and Kraft for Josh Allen? I definitely would do that. I would do that. That would be smart. And then you trade JD5 for some sort of wide receiver or running back that's completely undervalued that you're willing to take a chance on. Absolutely, Ray G. I would do that Josh Allen trade in a millisecond. I'd do it for Lamar either because it's such a secure thing to do and then a secure amount of consistent points to bring in and game out. Bye week free, do it live, Lamar or Josh Allen. And that's why this video, if you haven't watched it, go watch it tonight after this show. How to go get Allen and Lamar and why that would win you a league. This next super chat from our boy Ming 12 team half PPR need to pick up recommendations because my running back 2 tight end and flex are on a bye. Best running backs are Manungai, Tracy, Burchard. Wide receivers are Franklin, Reynolds, Kirk. Franklin's the best wide receiver. Manungai's nice. Tracy's okay. Burchard Smith kind of feels a little JCM like. You know, will they use him? Won't they use him? We're excited about him. Then he doesn't get any work. Then we're excited about him. He doesn't get any work. It feels like it's almost never going to happen with JCM and Burchard Smith. And it's frustrating because we believe it should and we know it should. We know what's right and wrong here. But it's just, unfortunately, we're beholden to these coaches making these decisions. I will probably say thank you, Sunbeams. You got your 20. I'm going to answer that in 1 second. I'd probably say I still take, I guess, Burchard Smith. I will say Manungai is probably better long term if something happens to it looks like he's less injury prone than we thought. Swift is proving to shake that label free, but he still hasn't completely shaken it free. And so if he gets banged up at all, Manungai could go to the moon. So Manungai might be the safer, longer-term option, but you're looking for now. I'd probably say Burchard and then Franklin, if I'm being honest. And Gadsden's the lock. And Gadsden would be more important, I think, than the other two because you're wavering on the other two. Gadsden or not, so let's put him as a priority. Ming, appreciate you. Oh, and the last question you said, was it defensive? Chiefs, Bills, or Falcons? I'm probably going to look at this. Let's see here. Let's look at the schedule here. Chiefs, Bills, Falcons. Falcons are a nice matchup at home, and I know everybody's like down on them right now, but it's matchup based, man. Carolina's an intriguing option as well, but they're on the road, but still nice. And then what was the other option? Falcons, Chiefs, and Bills. Chiefs. Man, that's the Monday night game. Washington, Mariota, probably. Chat, can we get a vote on this one? The Commanders Monday night. Is that too juicy of a matchup for the Chiefs defense, or are we still saying, give me the Falcons against that Miami Dolphins disaster? You know, all three are good. You're picking three very good defenses to kind of try and pick up and stream. Yeah, I'm kind of with the chat. I'm feeling like Falcons, man. Miami just is a disaster. You know, Washington, you still have the threat of JD5. Maybe, like, we don't know, you know, what that looks like fully. And Carolina, they could still run well. Could be like a good defensive game, but not like super high scoring fantasy. Could be, you know, something like that. I think the Falcons could get a lot of turnovers and disaster relief for you. So I'm going to go ahead and lean toward that as well. Falcons D. I believe the chat is on the money on that one. Thank you very much, my guy, for the super chat. Let's see. Ming, thank you again. Let's pull this one up here. This is let's go with Joe. Is this Indy Joe? I always forget if Joe is Indy Joe. I think Joe is Indy Joe. When Bowers is back, Genty will be consistent 13.5 points a week. That O-line is off, but Bowers being back will have the DBs uneasy. I agree. I agree. It's gonna. That's why I said, you know, for about 5 straight minutes, that people are judging this situation a little too harshly, not expecting there to be any difference. It looks like Joe Alt got reported as a limited practice today, but he did practice. So that news just came in. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying things get completely solved, but Brock Bowers. Also, Hassan Haskins did not practice today. And so Hassan Haskins being out is a good thing for what's his face? Vidal. And Vidal is disappointing, I know, but probably going to have a better game in this upcoming week 8. So, you know, consider that, especially with Joe Alt. So keep that in mind with Vidal. He's still worth the risk in the right situation. Need waiver advice 4 and 3. Knicks, wide receiver Rice, Buka, London. Love that. Keenan Allen and Higgins are tradable pieces. I don't know if that's Jaden Higgins or T. Higgins. Probably Jaden. But if it's T, you've got tremendous trade bait. But even so, Keenan Allen's good trade bait. Gibbs, Sharps, Harvey, Hendy. Do I drop Hendy? No, you don't. Tootin, Bowers. My waiver watch list is Gadsden, Hunter. Okay. Dart, you got a lot of guys. I would probably say, given you're still waiting on Bowers, Gadsden's the number one claim for you. I still love Tootin. I feel like there's got to be more players. If you literally can't, these are your only players. Tootin, Bowers. I guess Hunter, I want Hunter. If that's Jaden Higgins, I cut Jaden Higgins for Hunter, and I pick up Gadsden. There's got to be somebody else you can drop. I don't know that you've given me all your team. You can't have. There's no way you don't have more bench players. So I would say I definitely want Hunter and Gadsden. Probably the order would be Gadsden, Hunter, but I still would go after both of them tremendously with all force. Load droppage, divide the load droppage, but definitely go grab both of them. Or you can put a full load drop on each of them and just hope you get one of them if you think people are going to do similar thing. And if you've got a waiver claim, then yeah, you're gonna have to prioritize probably with Gadsden. But it's a good situation to be in when the waivers are that plentiful. But Hunter doesn't deserve to be on waivers. It's crazy. The same reason why Hendy doesn't. Like, you know, if you think about it, if you want an explanation, if you say, well, why not drop Hendy? Well, why not drop Hunter last week? When people said, should I drop Hunter? And we said, no, don't drop Hunter. And they're like, but it's week 6. You know, we're walking into week 8. Or week 7. And we said, okay. You know, Gibbs walked into week 7 doing nothing. And Gibbs became a monster his rookie year. Bucky walked into week 10 without doing a lot. Like, I don't know how many more times I got to say that to people when they continue to ask me, do I drop Hendy? Do I drop Hendy? Do I drop Travis Hunter? Well, if you drop Travis Hunter walking into week 7, you feel pretty stupid now. You got to have patience with this stuff. And we're not wrong on Hendy. We're not wrong on Hendy. We're just not. My Gibbs, if T. Higgins is the guy, then you have some potential trade bait as well. You know, I would strongly consider making a trade where you're moving, let's say, T. Higgins or Keenan Allen. Man, I don't. Gibbs is your only RB. Sharps, you know, go to the Walker owner, see if you can trade a T. Higgins or a Keenan Allen to get a running back by giving up Sharps. If not, Sharps is not bad. You know, like if you got to sit on that, you could trade Keenan Allen and Higgins for just one slightly better wide receiver. I don't mind doing that either. But definitely my Gibbs and Nico for his Judkins and Puka. It's pretty arguable. I'll probably say Gibbs and Nico. Because Nico's going to be out one game. You know, Judkins is a beast. Puka's a beast. But I think I probably take that. That's a tough call. Chat, vote on that one. Puka and Judkins or Nico and Gibbs. I'd probably take Nico Gibbs. Like, if I'm being honest with myself. And I'm trying to, you know, pecking order wise, if I'm drafting over again. I'm drafting Gibbs over all of them. I'm drafting Puka next, but Judkins and Nico are pretty damn close. So at the end of the day, it's like Gibbs wins, right? Gibbs wins that trade. I think, and I think most people will agree with that. Yeah, Gibbs, Nico. Got one Puka vote, but we got 4 Gibbs votes right away. So I agree with that. Got offered 2 trades: Lamar, Saquon for my Igbuka Jacobs. Lamar, Saquon for my Igbuka Jacobs. I take Igbuka Jacobs. Or Herbert, Warren for my Igbuka. I would rather have Igbuka. I assume that's Tyler Warren. You got to be more specific, my guy. There's multiple Warrens. You guys got to tell me what player we're talking about. Higgins doesn't do anything for me. Warren, there's multiple Warrens. But I would say no matter what, I just think Igbuka is the guy. And I'm not trading him. Especially that context there. Send Mahomes, Judkins, and Wandell Benson for Amon-Ra, Chase Brown, Rashad White, and Baker. Send Mahomes, Judkins, no. Amon-Ra I like more than Judkins, but you could argue they're close. You really could. Mahomes is a big difference maker here. Wandell, Chase Brown, Rashad White, Baker. I think I'm just leaning Mahomes, Judkins, but it is very arguable. Helps with the bye weeks to win with Genty out 3 and 4. Mahomes is a stud, bro. Judkins stud. Amon-Ra I love. I do. Chase Brown, I'm not sure. I of course love Chase Brown, but not sure about his situation. Not get rid of Mahomes. Mahomes is a beast. Or if you're getting Mahomes, whatever side. The Mahomes side is my pick. Pop, appreciate you. I'm trying to get Rashee Rice. I bet you are. 3 trades. A little late, bro. A little late trying this. I have Mahomes, Genty, Henry, Cook, Garrett Wilson, JJ, and Jennings. Who would you recommend to trade so I can get Mahomes, Rice tag? It's too late. There's no one. The problem is you're going to have to way overpay, bro. Henry, Cook, you can't sell him high right now. I wish you could. Cook is nice. Bye week free. I mean, you could try trading Cook for Rice, I suppose, but that bye week free piece might be the kicker, I suppose, that you could try it. Garrett Wilson, JJ. I would trade JJ for Rice, but it sucks it's come to that, you know. You could have JJ and Rice. Garrett Wilson and something, or try Garrett Wilson and Henry for Rice and something. I guess you could try that. I mean, I shouldn't say don't try. You know, Genty and Garrett Wilson for Rice and something, I'd try that. Pop, but past that, it's going to be hard sledding. I mean, the person that waited on him just saw him score 2 touchdowns with very little usage. He just scored 2 touchdowns. It should have had a third under very little usage, and they waited the entire season. Why are they going to trade him? You know what I mean? Wide receivers, try though. All those would work. London, Igbuka, Wilson, Debo, Hunter, Burton, Bucky, Sharps, Hendy, Harvey. Trade London. for Gibbs. Yeah, I mean, if I like winning, bro, I'd take Gibbs over London, but who's going to do that? You know, Mike, I mean, this might be one of those, like, Jerry Maguire memo moments in the middle of the night. Like, I've got it. I'm going to offer London for Gibbs. Who's going to give you Gibbs for London? Especially off a bad game for London in a career monster wattage type of outing for Gibbs. So drop Burden for Gordon, sure. Burden, I'd probably drop Burden over Gordon, honestly, for a defense, sure. But, Mike, let me know if you pull this off. I'll be very, very intrigued if you're able to turn a $100 bill into a $1,000 bill. Not to say we don't love London, but Hayek and Hizikbuka and Scat for my BTJ and Gibbs. Gibbs. I like Scat a lot, but no. Jackson, appreciate your blank $2 super chat. Make sure you include all messages in there. I think you did another one, so let me pull that up. Thank you, pal. I traded Saquon and Wandell for Achane. Did I win? No. You crushed him. You won a lot.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Jackson, nice job. Look, Saquon could bounce back, but he's not right now. So you're crushing it. You're crushing it. Trade Josh Allen for Igbuka. I have Dak. I'm hesitant to say on this one that I love trading Josh Allen away. I'll be honest. I'd rather give Dak and something. But in a vacuum, yes, Dak is playing well enough. I'd say if you got 6 wins, don't do anything. You know, if you're 4 wins in and things are working. But look, Buka is a great addition, and you probably draft Buka ahead of Josh Allen if you draft it over. But that doesn't necessarily mean you make trades, though. Unfortunately, in this world, you know, there's something to draft day value is not real value. But I do think I do that. Mahomes, Gibbs, Kyron, Javonte, Blue, Corum, Otten, Andrews, try Lad +1 for Amon-Ra and Monty. I think you're getting a little greedy trying to get Amon-Ra and Monty. But let's see what we can do. Lad plus what? Lad plus Kyron wouldn't even get you Amon-Ra and Monty, probably. Could. But, so, like, what else are we going to do? Lad plus Javonte, Amon-Ra, and Monty, probably not going to get that done either. We're not trading Mahomes. We're not trading Gibbs. I think if you wanted to get Amon-Ra, you got to kind of try and do, like, a Hunter, maybe a Worthy, and you might have to give up, like, Javonte and Worthy for Amon-Ra. You could try Monty. Try it. But, like, Lad, I mean, Lad and Javonte is not getting you both. Lad and Javonte maybe gets you Amon-Ra, but who's trading for Lad right now? But me. I'll trade for Lad, but no one else is trading for Lad. I'm trading for Lad at pennies on the dollar. So, you know, Lad's nothing. He's worth nothing right now, which is great. Which is great news to acquire him. But you're not getting anything in a trade. This is like trying to sell a stock that went to zero. Like, bro, I'll give you my stock. It's at zero, but that's okay. So I don't think Javonte for Amon-Ra is a very, very solid opportunity. Do you have to throw Hunter in instead of Lad? Maybe. And is it worth it? Maybe. Maybe not. I mean, Javonte and Hunter is pretty solid. Worthy and Javonte for Amon-Ra and Monty, try it. I would try that, I guess. That's where I would go. If you're wanting me to give you an answer that I would be willing to do, I can't guarantee that they'll do that trade. That's the one I'll do. If you can pull that off, I'd be pretty impressed. Don't not try something just because I say it's not likely. I mean, we see crazy trades happen all the time. Got offered Flacco and Bijan for Lamar and Sutton. I'd take Bijan and Flacco all day long. I mean, that's not even close, bro. Lamar goes so much further downstream. This is an easy call. You don't even need to get a quarterback back at all. I don't even care if you didn't have a quarterback at all and you had to go to the waiver wire like I'm doing that trade. Dynasty, I'm 2-5. This is still a shot here. Mahomes, Henry, Rashad White, Keenan Allen, Tez, defense bench. Okay. Yeah, you got a shot. I mean, you need Bucky and Garrett Wilson back stat and Hendy to maybe step up, but you certainly have a shot. 2-5, bro. I've seen 0-6 teams win a championship. So you just need a couple wins here. The thing that's interesting about the next couple of weeks is everybody's like, oh, I've got so many buys. I played Miss Smitty in the Miss Smitty League, and I had 160 points, I think. She had 205 or something on me. He took me down, and she's complaining about bye weeks. Showed her my roster. My entire roster's off next week. And I'm doing good in the league, but I showed her. I'm like, everybody complains about their own team, but everybody's got bye weeks, bro. Everybody's got their team ravaged with bye weeks. You might skate through this week better than you think, and all you need to do is win one of the next 2 weeks, and I think you're then back on track. Hopefully Garrett Wilson, Bucky, and the boys are back in the saddle, and hopefully Hendy's off to the races at that point, which is not a guarantee by any means, but I think you got a shot. Trading Derrick Henry to a team that can win now is something you consider. Are you buying Hendy on the low in all formats? Absolutely. He's getting cut in a lot of leagues, and I'm definitely scooping him up. JCM and a viable running back too? Absolutely not. Is buy Hendy low? Yeah, absolutely. I'd trade him for Hendy for sure. I can't trust the way they use JCM. Do I still love JCM as a talent? Absolutely. But is he a starter in fantasy? Not really. I mean, he's solid player, but it's you're trusting an organization that continues to neglect him. But I'm still hopeful. I'm not cutting him. Trade my Achane, Higgins for Lamar and Scatterboo. I'm going to say no. I'd take Achane and Higgins and work another angle to get some sort of quarterback upgrade if that's your goal. I feel like you can still do that for Lamar or Josh Allen. 5-2 12-man league. 2 offers. Trade Jamar and Rico for JJ and Henry. I'd probably rather have Jamar and Rico. And then the other one's Rico, Shakir for Chase Brown and Jacoby. I'd take Rico and Shakir, honestly. I really think Rico is solid. Now, it's not a guarantee by any means, but that's just the way I feel right now. The winds could shift for sure. That's the nature of fantasy. So what I say this week could change next week. It's just how it is. It's a stock market game. 14-team dynasty, 2-5. My running backs are Brees, Etienne, Sharp, Rashard Smith, Vidal. Don't think I can compete this year. Guy wants my Etienne for his Hendy. I'd rather have Hendy for the long term if this is a dynasty league. I mean, we're already seeing Etienne maybe lose ground. Maybe that happens this week. Maybe he bounces back. But I certainly take the gamble that Hendy is a future stud. 2-5, my team is Dak, Keenan, Rice, and running back is Barkley and Javonte, and Vidal is a tight end is Pitts. Do I trade away Barkley and JSN on a buy for CMC and T-Mac? Look, JSN and CMC are pretty damn close, and you just got to ask yourself, is Barkley a better shot at bouncing back even halfway than T-Mac is staying consistent in a very volatile situation with a volatile quarterback, with a volatile offense? JSN, if you ask me, Christian McCaffrey holds, and people get really mad at me over this because of what McCaffrey's done. What McCaffrey's done has nothing to do with what McCaffrey will do. What McCaffrey's done has nothing to do with the injury risk that he holds, with the amount of workload that this guy's taken on this year is astronomically higher than normal, on top of being injury prone and being a concern. So I think JSN and Barkley has a little bit more appeal than CMC T-Mac, but it's super close. It's super close, and you almost have to just trust your gut. You almost have to ask yourself, can you rake him over the coals and get more just because of JSN having a huge game? And do you even want to go or let's see, do I trade away Barkley and JSN? Yeah. I don't know. I'd probably keep JSN and Barkley, to be honest, but that's me. It's really, really close. Really, really close. And yeah, so Brees Hall's on the cover of this thumbnail. I didn't even address that yet. We were talking about the Jets, and then I got sidetracked. The news is that there's nothing concrete at all. It's just that this team is collapsing. And so I apologize for not talking about Brees Hall at all yet. I think there's a real strong chance that he gets traded. And I think, Garrett Wilson is not safe in escaping a trade, which you could say safe. It'd be freeing him. I do think there's a real chance that Brees Hall gets traded. Brees Hall's not happy where he is. He says he is one moment, then he's cryptic about a post, and then he says something in another moment. But they don't want him there. They don't want him there. They didn't extend him. It's not their guy. The team's collapsing in front of our very eyes. So there's a real chance that we go ahead and we dish out a little bit of value to go get Brees if the price is right while people panic on him. But we're not buying him high. We're not buying him expecting even high-end running back 2 value. You're buying him at seller dweller pricing. Or if you have him, you're probably holding him for some buzz. If he gets traded to the Chiefs, it would be unbelievable. You could maybe trade him for the world then, even if you were concerned about it. Which it's not a lock that if he goes to the Chiefs, he gets used properly. I mean, that's Andy Reid. But it would be amazing and an upgrade, and we definitely take the chance of him in a Chiefs uniform over a Jets uniform right now for sure, right? So, yeah, I'm 2-5. My team is Dak, Rice. Do I trade away Barkley? Oh, I did that one. Thank you. Appreciate you. This one from Jaime. Jaime, appreciate your super chat, young man. I'm 5-2. Team is Josh Allen, Jamar. Trade advice, trade targets. Love the squad. Wide receivers are off the hook. Josh Allen, bye week free. Achane, Cook, Rico. Stand down for the most part. Would I move Adams and Rico for like one bigger stud running back? Would I move Keenan Allen and Adams for one stud wide receiver upgrade? Would I move Cook and Adams for like Gibbs or Bijan? Would I move Achane and Keenan Allen, or Achane and Adams for a Gibbs or a Bijan type of move, and even get something back? Yes, like that's the only thing I'm doing. I'm trying to upgrade something like that. Other than that, your team's a pretty good stand down and wait, my boy. I mean, that's a solid squad. That's a real solid squad. Let me see if there's any $20 super chats that need attending. We got this one from Cam. Cam, appreciate your 20. You get immediate attention, young man. Cam to the moon. We got this one here from Onai. Appreciate you with a $20 super chat. You'll get immediate attention as well, young man. And then we got Lego Batman dropping just a handshake $20 holler, because that's how Lego rolls. Lego, appreciate you for the $20 holler, my good friend. Daniel Jones, CMC. Let me finish this one in the top left real quickly. How can I not lose? How can I not lose my league? Neighbors, it sucks, bro. Neighbors and Burrow, it's pretty hard to win a league when you lose Neighbors and Burrow. But this team's still got a lot of firepower. Your only move here, you're not winning with CMC, bro. You're 2-5. You got Christian McCaffrey. You know, it's time to do a reality check, Nick. It's time to do a reality check. It's not your fault, but it's time to do a reality check and get rid of CMC for 2 players. Don't do just the best offer you get. You get the world, young man. You go get 2 players that are extraordinary. You go get a mother freaking Achane with a wide receiver that's playing better than Devontae Adams. You go get a freaking Judkins, and you couple Judkins with a Meka Egbuka who's injured. Like, you're doing 2 players like that for CMC. It's your only shot, Nick. You're 2-5 with Christian McCaffrey. You have to trade him. 12 team PPR. Team is Lamar Jackson. Thank you for the super chat. Stafford, Bucky, Harvey, Judkins. I'm 6-1. Should I stand down or make trades? Tried to move Sharps and K9, but no one is biting. I imagine that's the case. No one's gonna want him. Bucky's coming back. You're 6-1. You're in pretty good shape right here, bro. Now, Sharps and K9, you might move them in crafty fashion. You might move them for, let's say, who's your tight end? Tyler Warren. Damn, that's good too. I don't know that there's not much to move. Maybe K9 and Walker and Worthy, you overspend for just one player, bro. You know, go after somebody that, I mean, you could try for Rice, but I highly doubt someone's traded Rice at this point. You know, Devontae Adams is a real nice addition to a team like this. Judkins and Bucky will be fine. You'll be fine at running back. Your running backs are solid. Trying to think of a receiver that fits the bill for K9 Sharps and Worthy. K9 Sharps and Worthy for, you could go after A.J. Brown and assume that he's back, I suppose. You could go after a concussion Nico Collins. You could go after a JJ with that package, the trio. Maybe you tried K9 and Walker, but if you tried K9 and Walker and Worthy for one player like Rice, for Egbuka injured, for I'm not saying he's injured now, but people are still worried about, is he fully healthy? JJ, Nico concussion. Try those moves. Those would be potentially good. Would I even trade for Garrett Wilson using Walker and Sharps? Maybe. But honestly, I'm not worried about trading Walker and Sharps right now because Sharps is playing pretty well. So if you don't get the right player, and I think you said you had T-Mac. Like T-Mac, if he has a big game, you could maybe trade T-Mac and those two running backs for like a Buka or something along those lines. I still firmly believe in Adams, so I would trade that for Adams. I'd trade the running back duo for Pickens. I'd maybe give up a wide receiver as well. So that's kind of where I'd take that squad. Other than that, I'd just stand down, my boy. I would just stand down. Thank you again, Lego Batman. Anybody that thinks I missed their super chat, I'm not. I'm just going through them in order as fast as I can, my boy. So, I think I missed you talking about my super chat. Probably not TM42. See, hear my bedside manner. My bedside manner is much improved, is it not? I'm not yelling at anybody. I probably haven't got to it yet, TM42. Probably have not gotten to it yet. Who's the other one that said I missed their super chat? I probably didn't. Who was it? Fernando? Fernando, highly unlikely I missed it. I think you just in a waiting, you're in a little bit of a line. So just hang tight. $20 holler from Killer Cam says, hey Smitty, I'm 4-3 in my 10-man half PPR. Baker, CMC, Achane, Keenan Allen, Kraft, Addison, bench Charbonnet, ETN. I think ETN and Keenan Allen are trade pieces. I want to get an elite wide receiver. So ETN and Keenan Allen probably get you an Adams, but is that enough? Hard to say. Pickens probably that's a lot to pay. But I think Pickens might earn that. He's playing that way now. Rice, I clearly would go get. London off a bye. Well, I mean, not off a bye, but bye week free and off a bad game. Adunze's bye week free, but that's a hell of a price to pay. Nico injured, Ibuka, and then JJ. Like that's what I'm trying to target. Maybe you've tried all those pieces, but it's gonna be hard to get anybody bigger than that, and it's harder to go for anybody lower than that because then you're just giving up way too much. So that's probably where I'd take this team. I like your squad a lot. I think there's a lot of value here. I think I agree you should get another wide receiver. Adams is probably the cheapest wide receiver one you could get, maybe Pickens. I'd try those two. Killer Cam, those are the two probably most likely players that are going to help you and cost you the least, but give you that. Maybe Garrett Wilson potentially, but that's still kind of a risk because that situation is trash, bro. So we're like almost hoping he gets traded. 4-3. Yeah, if anybody says I missed their super chat, let them kindly know in the chat that I'm getting through them. 4-3, 10-man, 1 QB, 2 flex, Knicks, Dart, Gibbs, Genty, Bucky, Harvey. Injuries and buys. Gonna be 4-4 any moves. Man, I would say that this is probably the most frustrating group of wide receivers I think you could come across right now. Or one of the, not the frustrating. I mean, Neighbors and could have a bunch of injuries too, but yeah, I mean, Garrett Wilson hampered by a situation that unfolded. Debo hampered by a situation that unfolded. MHJ hampered by a situation that unfolded. Travis Hunter has been hampered by a situation that's been unfolding, and it's getting better, but now he's on a bye. Like, you've been hit crazy. Injuries and bye, gonna be 4-4. I don't know that there's a lot to trade here. I'll be honest, Genty and a Hunter, Genty and an MHJ, Genty and a Debo to try and get like a Henry and something else and buy that cheap player like Henry or Barkley and take a gamble. Probably the best sidestep for you. One risk into another. Now, I wouldn't trade Genty for Henry straight up. I'd rather have Genty. But I'm just saying, like, if you were to potentially turn that into Henry and something that was much more of an upgrade over Debo or MHJ or Hunter, I would consider that swap, and you get the bye week free piece of that. So that you might have to just get crazy IP and go in that 2-for-2 direction and target Derrick Henry. If Derrick Henry's not available, it becomes a harder mission to accomplish because I don't know that I like trading Genty for very many players that are risky like that. And Bucky, I'm waiting on. You're 4-3. You can afford to wait on it. It's not comfortable, but you can. Genty, you can afford for Bowers to come back to help Genty. Not comfortable, but it's something you can do. Trading one of the QBs, assuming this is one QB, and I think you say it is, then you could trade one of the QBs to a QB-needy team with MHJ, with Debo, with Hunter to try and get that one extra player like Adams or higher or Buka. Past that, you might have to explore later. I'm not saying it's comfortable. All this is uncomfortable. Explore trading. If you can't win with Gibbs, you trade Gibbs. Like, if you can't win with Gibbs, what are you doing? You at least use the massive value to go get pieces that will help you win, like a Judkins and a Nico banged up with a concussion, and you throw in an extra player that's not even that good. You know, that's what I'm talking about. That's what you can do. Judkins off his hat trick 3 TD game might be hard to go get, but you could have last week. London's coming off a bad game, so he is somebody you can get. Buka's coming off a disappointing situation, and Nico a concussion. JSN, like, none of these guys you can get anymore. JJ you could get. JJ and something in a Gibbs. So JJ and a Judkins. JJ and a James Cook. Like, you're going to have to explore that IP in order to get out of this situation, because I don't think you're winning with Gibbs necessarily. You could, but it's going to be tough sledding. With Dak playing as well as he has, I should try trading Lamar Jackson for someone. I would be entertaining that, sure. Just like I'm telling people to go get Lamar. I would consider trading Dak if you can get the right kind of deal. But if you could trade Lamar to get Jonathan Taylor or Gibbs, you're not going to get. Bro, no one's giving you Jahmyr Gibbs for Lamar Jackson. Kicking it with COD. No one's giving you that, my guy. You can try. But Gibbs is just went absolutely ballistic. We're not getting Gibbs for Lamar. You're probably not getting JT for Lamar. You're giving up Lamar, and I mean, if you traded Lamar and something strong, maybe you pull something like that off. But no one's giving you Gibbs right now. Nobody. No one's giving you JSN. No one's giving you JT. No one's giving you Gibbs, unless you give up something way more than Lamar Jackson. We're talking Lamar and a whole other stud player. But I would say that you can go shop for players that have struggled. Lamar for JJ, Lamar for injured Nico, Lamar for Buka, Lamar for London bye week free. Those are the situations kicking it. Certainly try. I'm not trying to discourage you from ripping off somebody that doesn't know ball, and there's certainly that opportunity, but TM42, your super chat's coming up. Fernando, I see yours in sight right now. You guys are like 2 and 3 away. 10-man PPR, 1 QB, Dowdle, Flex. I'm 5-2, QB, JD5, Caleb, Bijan, Jacob, Stevenson, JSN and Dunze, Pickens, Hunter, Fannin. Any moves? Hit that thumb up button, guys, on your way in the door, please. We only have 174 thumbs up in the building. We've got how many people here on YouTube? We have almost 700 people on YouTube alone. We got some people on X. We only have 175 thumbs up. We can do better than that. We can do better than that. 5-2. Any moves? I don't know, bro. Caleb Adunze Fannin for Mahomes Kelsey. I would take Mahomes Kelsey, sure. I like Adunze, but I take that. I don't trust Caleb that much. Pickens, Hunter, you'd be fine at wide receiver. Addison, I like that move a lot. Jacobs, you know what? I'd probably say that's the move to make. Then you trade JD5. You try and get something. JD5 and assuming it's 1 QB, which I think it is. JD5 and Addison, you could maybe get a running back like, you could probably get a Breece Hall for that right now. You could probably get a Derrick Henry for that right now. If someone's QB needy, you could probably get a Chase Brown. All those are gambles I would make after I make that move. Appreciate you. My league doesn't have a kicker or a defensive slot. BTJ may be hurt and miss time. May be hurt? Vlad, BTJ's not maybe hurt. He's hurt. I don't know what news you're trying to break here, Vlad, but he's hurt. And he will miss time. And drops all the time. He does drop the ball a lot. Too soon to drop for Hunter. You're not dropping BTJ, though. And Hunter shouldn't be on waivers, Vlad. Vlad, you shouldn't have allowed that, Vlad.
Take
But you're not dropping BTJ. But go grab Hunter for sure. I have both Rico and Hubbard. Maybe drop one of them for Travis Hunter. Look, I'm not going to condone dropping Chuba Hubbard cuff to Rico. Drop your kicker. That's why you said that. Damn it. Vlad was thinking on that one. He knew I was going to say drop kicker at D. He was prepared. Eyes, I haven't missed it. I'm still combing through the super chats, my boy. Appreciate you. I would probably say there's got to be somebody else. I can't drop Chuba. I guess I would for Hunter in a vacuum, but I'm not advising that, Vlad. You got to figure out something else. There's got to be another drop. I'm not doing it. I'm not dropping BTJ either. TM42, Gadsden worth the number 2 waiver wire. He's worth the number 1 waiver wire pick. Have Fannin and Ingram. Yeah, I mean, Gadsden just had 160 yards and a touch on, 7 receptions. He's absolutely the full load drop of the week. Him and Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter cutting all these leagues is just disrespectful. Thank you for the super chat. Judkins plus Pittman for CD. I would take CD Lamb, but that's, respectable. I love Judkins. Have JT and CMC hold in case of injuries. Yeah, I mean, definitely think I go get CD. Have Puka, London, and Buka at wide receiver. That's good wide receivers, though, bro. I mean, if you can't start all 3, then no. What are you doing? And then again, if you can't start all the running backs either, then I guess I still go after Lamb. So make sure you're being cognizant of the lineup. But then again, you got bye weeks coming up too. You could always make another trade after you utilize that, if that's utilized properly with bye weeks, I suppose. Dynasty PPR 3 and 4 was offered Brown. I assume that's Chase Brown, JCM, and Waddle, and an early first for my Buka. I would say Buka to the moon. No, I'm not trading Buka. Not trading Buka at all. No. So negative on that, Fernando. Buka is worth way more than that to me. I think Buka is worth the world. That's not the world. That's I guess a solid offer, but not an offer that's going to make me trade him. Team is, I wouldn't even trade him for 2 first rounders. Team is Allen, Achane, Cook, Chase, Rice, Wilson, Diggs, Pearsall, Hendy, Harvey, McBride, Fannin. Need trade ideas to better this team. Send Achane and Wilson and Diggs for Puka, Pacheco, Walker. Achane, Wilson, Diggs for Puka, Pacheco, Walker. I would probably say that's a pretty even trade, independent on Walker and Wilson, right? I'll probably lean toward the Puka side, I suppose, and then try and flip Pacheco, Walker, who have pretty good value for flipping. So I would say go get the Puka side. But this team also has some other opportunities like Chase Brown, unless that's Jamar Chase. It's probably Jamar Chase. So Allen, Cook, Jamar Chase, Rice, but you'd be getting Puka, and so you'd then have a need for RB. So you'd have no Achane, you'd have Cook, bye week free, Allen bye week free, and then you're kind of hurting at RB. So that sucks, I guess. Chase, Rice, and so then you're trying to trade Wilson and Diggs for some sort of running back situation like Hall or Henry. I mean, could you maybe trade for Derrick Henry using any one of your non-Cook running backs? I mean, I would strongly consider Wilson and I mean, you got Walker, though. Wilson and Walker for a running back. Wilson and Walker for Javonte. Wilson and Walker for Henry. If you could turn Garrett Wilson and Walker into Derrick Henry and get Puka, it's solid. Then again, it's like, chat, does he even make a move then? Right now, you got Achane, Cook, Chase, Rice, Wilson. I don't know. The more I look at it, if you could pull off the Henry move, I would Smitty approve the 2 trades and rather have that team Puka Henry. But if you don't think you can get through all that legwork and you get screwed and you only have Walker, which isn't the end of the world, but you have Puka, I think I'd rather keep the Achane side and try and work a Wilson, Diggs, and additional trade. You could also use McBride for a running back in a worst case scenario if it doesn't work out. But Jerome, it's pretty damn fair. I mean, I could argue both sides. You might have the exact same scoring with either team. You know what I mean? But I guess if you could give me the Henry, then I'd rather have that side. Traded Scatterboo and Daniel Jones for Bucky and Flowers. Traded Scatterboo and Daniel Jones for Bucky and Flowers. 6-1. I don't know. I think I'd probably rather have Bucky and Flowers. I love Scat, though. I love him. I think it's pretty close, though. It's a very, very close trade. Husseini with a $20 hauler. Husseini jumps to the front of the line. Husseini, appreciate your 20 wad, my boy. Husseini to the motherfreaking moon. Let me see if there's any other 20s that I need to grab and put on screen. Smitty 6-1 in this league. Or 1-6. I'm sorry. I'm trying to will you into a winning team. 1-6. Got JD5. So start Dak versus Denver. Yes. Or Knicks versus Dallas. Whoa. Chat. Knicks versus Dallas or Dak versus Denver? You got to go Bo Knicks versus Dallas. Dallas is a gift. Unless they trade for somebody. I don't know. 1-6 is not done, Jimmy. I've seen way worse. I've seen 0-6 win championships, and not once in a while. I've seen it a lot. So don't listen to him, Husseini. Knicks versus Dallas, says the chat. Yeah, the chat's in agreement. Game in Denver. Also start JCM versus KC or Harvey versus Dallas. Probably go Harvey. He scored a touchdown. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited a little bit about that. Or Woody versus San Francisco. You know, I think we make this decision closer to kickoff, but maybe we lean Woody. Woody scored a touchdown. They're probably pretty happy with his performance. I'd say Woody then. Bucky on the bench trying to trade him. Nobody wants him. Well, then wait on him, though. Don't trade him don't get like in a position where you take the best offer. Judkins is your running back 1. Yeah, I'd say Woody for now. Chat, we agree. Drop some wood in the chat if you agree with that take on Woody. Woody's probably the guy, bro. He's probably the guy. 6-1. My Nico in London for Dowdle and Bijan for Bijan and Ladd. Nico London Dowdle for Bijan Ladd. Nico London Dowdle. Probably, man. Chat, Bijan or Nico London Dowdle? Bijan Ladd or Nico London Dowdle? Please vote for Thomas. Thomas, you're always trying to like dismantle your team and get like the best player in the deal, but it's always so tough. Chat, vote on that one. That's insane. Kraft and May for Josh Allen and Hampton. I'd take Josh Allen and Hampton. Lamb and Cook for JJ Kyron. Give me Lamb and Cook, but very close. Full PPR, would you rather have rest of season Otten or Gadsden? Gadsden. I mean, it's not even close. Gadsden, look, Otten's on the waiver wire. Gadsden's the number 1 waiver wire ads, Spencer. You know, I mean, you know that. You're just asking if the cheese is expired, even though it's got an expiration date. Gadsden, Fannin, Henry, Fields, Penix, or Tyrod. I'm going to go Penix. I'm going to go Gadsden. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate you. Is Tez a full load drop? I don't know about that, but he's definitely a good grab. I wouldn't say full load drop, but he's an important piece. He's a top 4 or 5 ad this week. My JSN and Sharps for Bijan and Keenan. I would take Bijan and Keenan, even though JSN's an absolute straight savage. Did you read the super chat already, Vlad? I did. Thank you for the follow-up on that one. Drop Harvey or Vidal for Bashard Smith, Tootin Manungai. Drop Harvey or Vidal for Bashard Smith, Tootin Manungai. No, probably not. But I do want Tootin somehow. So maybe you're dropping a kicker and holding that, trying to make a trade. 2 weeks ago, I traded Hendy for BTJ. This week, I got JJ for my BTJ and Dowdle. I think that's a fantastic move there. Good job, bro. JJ and Bucky for Genty and CD. I would rather have probably... I guess I'd rather have CD and Genty because they're playing. But man, that win could shift very easily. It's Superflex Flacco, Bijan for Lamar Sutton. If it's Superflex, it's probably going to be Lamar Sutton. But that's a tough call because Bijan's playing so good that in a Superflex startup right now, you'd have Bijan going in the top 3 or 4, I think. So it's pretty close. Thoughts on Dobbs versus Keenan. Dobbs versus Keenan. Is it Dobbs a Green Bay receiver? I'd take Keenan. I don't know what you're trying to write there, but I think that's Dobbs. I need a running back 2. Who do I trade? Trade my running back 2, Rico, JCM, or Zach? Need a running back 2. Who to trade my running back 2s? I don't know what that means, Kwani. Is it Rico Dowdle, JCM? I want Rico Dowdle. So I'd trade JCM if that's what you're asking. It's kind of a really vague question, but I'd rather keep Rico. Don't be mad at me, Smitty. I traded Devontae Smith for JCM. How bad did I overpay? Pretty bad. I like JCM, but he's not being used, and Devontae Smith is doing pretty damn well. So I'm not mad at you. I mean, it's your own decision, but and anything can happen with JCM, but I think it's pretty safe to say Devontae Smith's worth a lot more. Traded my Debo. I think your league probably let you know. Am I right? When you made that trade, they ripped on it. Traded my Debo, Hunter, and ETN for JT. Big win. Big win. JT ballin', bro. Smitty, I have Caleb. I got offered Jaden Daniels for my Woody Marks. I would take Jaden Daniels. It's worth the risk. I like Woody, but it's worth the risk in that situation. Sure. Why not? It's not anything crazy, bro. Got offered Gibbs, Kittle, and Sutton for my Genty, Rashee Rice, and Tyler Warren. I'm 6-1. Got offered Gibbs, Kittle, and Sutton. Oh, bro. I'd probably take Gibbs, Kittle, Sutton. But that's a crazy mixed a bunch of emotions crashing down on me like a phoenix, bro. This bum hate dropped ETN. So my number 1 is him. My number 2 is Booty, Watson, Brashard, Gadsden. I would say probably Gadsden, but if you need a wide receiver, Booty's fine for your number 2. But I like Gadsden a little bit more personally. But that's just in a vacuum. It doesn't consider your situation necessarily. So Booty's right there. I don't have a QB. Should I go get Flacco or Penix? Probably Penix Jr., Mike. All right, let me get right back up to the order of these things. Christopher Lentz, appreciate you. QB Darnold, running back Gibbs, HN, ETN, Tet, Debo. Offer is Hurts and Pickens for my ETN and Debo. I'd take Hurts and Pickens and run. That's not even close, bro. Hurts and Pickens, do it live. ETN and Debo. I mean, they're not. ETN and Debo aren't even playing well. Not to say that can't change, but 5-2 running backs: Gibbs, Hampton, Benson, Hendy, Lamb, Buka, Olave. Trade Olave for Jalen Warren. I'd rather have Olave. I think Olave could get you more too. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say go get a different running back. Go get a freaking Henry for Olave. Give up a little more. Go get a Chase Brown straight up. Go get a potential Breece Hall and take the gamble. I don't know. 5-2. I'm trading a projected late second for Keenan Allen and a projected early third. He would be much needed flex injury help. Yeah, I don't even care if that's like a dynasty league and you want to make money and win. That's fine. And if it's, yeah, so that's good. Different league, 4 keeper, 12-man, full PPR, 4-3 QBs, K1. All right. Any moves, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex. HN and Hampton. I mean, it's tough because it's keeper. I probably say HN, Hampton. Damn, man. Lamb, London, Rice is such a good team. Any moves? I probably say I'm exploring. I like that you got Vidal and Hampton. I think Vidal does better this week. Haskins is probably going to be out. Woody's really solid. Sharps is playing pretty well. I don't want you trading any of those wide receivers. I'm going to say stand down for the most part. Of course, I'd like you to upgrade the QB. But at what cost? I don't know. You know, maybe the Walker owner would take Sharps and panic. And you could upgrade your quarterback slightly, like a little sidestep maneuver. You know, something like that. But I don't think there's much to trade on that because you're just destroying that wide receiver value, which is so freaking awesome. I think I'd stand down more than anything, but I look for a little QB move, look for a little potential QB upgrade using one of those running backs. But be careful, like Woody, Sharps, you get rid of one of them, but not more than one. Got offered Adams, Kraft, and Dart for Gibbs. I bet you did. Gibbs all the way, bro. Come on. Tyler, appreciate you with the $20 holla. Tyler, my boy, love you, Smitty. Here's the rundown. 12-man PPR, 4-3. Allen, Jacobs, JK, Harvey, Tootin, JSN, Sutton, JMO, Warren just lost Evans. Aaron Jones coming off IR. Any advice, ideas? Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Tyler. Appreciate you. Look, JSN, I'm not moving. Josh Allen not moving off the bye week. Jacobs is tradable, but he's solid, and not sure I'm moving him either. So you got a lot of like bye weeks out of the way, and you're cooking. J.K. Dobbins has some trade value. J-Mo doesn't. So you hold him. Scary Terry coming back. Warren I probably keep. I'd probably say the only thing I'm working on now, it's very simple, but J.K. and Sutton for just one slightly better player. J.K. and Sutton for Pickens. J.K. and Sutton for Adams. J.K. and Sutton for Javonte. J.K. and Sutton for Henry. J.K. and Sutton for James Cook. J.K. and Sutton for Kyron. J.K. and Sutton for, and a lot of these won't work, but all you do is catch someone sleeping. J.K. Sutton for Adams, I said. J.K. Sutton for AJB. Take the gamble. J.K. Sutton for Buka. J.K. Sutton for London. Playing bad off the bye week, you're fine. That's the only thing I'm looking at. Would I trade? Now I will say this: probably better off going the running back route, because if you trade J.K., you got J.K. and Harvey kind of protecting your running back 2 spot, and I'm telling you to trade that away. You probably got to go running back more than anything. Tyler Warren's a person you could trade if you could get a solid backup, but I'd rather just keep him. He's a stud, bro. He's a straight savage. But what running back would make sense for that combo the most? I would probably say to keep J.K. and Harvey together unless you're getting that Henry, that potential Chase Brown, that potential Breece Hall gamble. ETN, because you have Tutin's intriguing that he comes back and bounces back. But would I give Sutton up for that? Probably, because you got Terry coming back. You got JSN. I'd probably consider ETN and Sutton a pretty even swap. Then you kind of have both those, the Bronco backs and the Jags backs, so you might feel be pretty comfortable with that. Tough call, though. I think for the most part, that's the only thing I want to touch. Everything else I like about your team. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. QB, Dak, Gibbs, Rico, Mason, Hendy, Harvey, Woody, Buka, BTJ, McBride. 6-1 any trades. Gibbs, Rico, fantastic. I'm tempted to trade Mason, but I don't know if the Aaron Jones news will make him impossible to trade now. BTJ and Mason for just some player that's not injured, that's right around there. Even if it's a slight downgrade from what BTJ was valued as, let's call it, damn, man, I'd trade BTJ for a BTJ and Mason for a Dunze bye week free. For obviously Adams, you're not probably going to get that. I mean, BTJ for Worthy would be somewhat of an intriguing move. For a Sutton, for a Pickens, give up a little more to get Pickens. BTJ for, damn, it's tough. Garrett Wilson injured. I don't know. It's something to think about. Alex, everything else is pretty solid. I love Rico. Buka, solid. McBride, I think, at 6-1, you maybe don't try and fix too much. Don't try and fix what isn't broken, but you got to stay ahead of things. McBride, selling McBride extremely high. Like, let's say you could trade down to a Tyler Warren, or trade down to a player like Gadsden, or you pick Gadsden off waivers, or you just trust Mason Taylor. You could probably get a pretty solid haul for McBride. Maybe McBride and Mason gets you a James Cook and something. Maybe it gets you a potential Bucky injured and something that you can use now. Those 6-1. Bucky's a good go get for you. Yeah, I would say Bucky for you. Bucky using Mason and BTJ and DJ Moore. Probably not getting Bucky that way, but you could try. But Bucky using McBride, get McBride and something solid for McBride, or Bucky and something solid for McBride would be pretty intriguing. Trading for Nico Collins, injured right now. A lot of people can't wait, my boy. A lot of people can't wait. They get scared. They make moves. It happens. 12-team, full PPR, 3 and 4. JD5, Kyron, Hendy, Marion Hampton, Trey Benson, Jamar Chase, Sutton. Kittle was offered 2 trades for Jamar Chase. DK and James Cook, probably say no. It's close, but no. Buka and Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren doesn't do it for me. I know he looks good. No, I'm keeping that side of the trade, bro. Jamar Chase. I like Ibuka, but it'd have to be a different player. And I like James Cook, but it'd have to be a different wide receiver for me. The James Cook DK one's not horrible. In fact, chat, vote on it, but I think Jamar Chase is going to win the vote by the people because he's Jamar. And he does Jamar things. 2 and 5, Mason and Buka for JSN. I'd take JSN in a heartbeat, bro. It's not even close. Appreciate you. This one here from Eyes. Appreciate you, Eyes, for the super chat, my boy. Eyes says, 12 team, 7-0. Allen, Bijan, Dobbins. Saquon owner wants a trade. Bench is Monty, Puka, Debo, Diggs, stand down, or try for it. CMC and Gibbs owners may trade too. Yeah, those are going to be hard, costly players to go get, though. But I definitely would be very, very intrigued by going and getting, what was it? Saquon owner. Like Saquon owner for I don't think I give up, like, obviously Dobbins. J.K. Dobbins, I give up Kittle. I give up Monty. I give up Monty and J.K. Dobbins. I give up Debo and Monty. I give up Debo, Monty, and J.K. I give up Keenan Allen, Diggs. Any combinations of those guys for Saquon just to take a gamble. Now, would I want to get into the Gibbs game? I'm not trading into CMC. If I've got CMC, I don't mind holding him and waiting for the right deal or holding him, period. You guys that have CMC don't listen to a single thing I say. It's evident when you guys come in here and go, see, CMC's doing good, huh, Smitty? It's like, yeah, that's what we say every week. He'll continue to do good. Go get me a coffee. You're just repeating what I say and acting like I'm saying something different. CMC will continue to ball until he gets injured. So you wait, you hold, you don't do anything. But going and trading for him is a risky proposition, especially at the cost of entry. Because now you're not only holding risk all year when you get him, you're also paying the price. Gibbs, I definitely would buy at the right price, but what are you going to be able to get him for? Judkins and what? Judkins and Monty, Judkins and Debo, Judkins and Keenan Allen, Judkins and Diggs. Any combination of Diggs, Keenan Allen, Debo, J.K. Dobbins with Judkins, sure. Kittle and Judkins for Gibbs, absolutely. So try that, but past that, I think the Saquon for a very much lower price is a very attractive proposition. I definitely am intrigued by that. 3-4 record. Should I trade my BTJ and Harvey for Brees and Coleman? I suppose, but man, that could go either way. Love Harvey. Just we're waiting on him. Brees Hall could be nothing or he could be a Chief very soon. It's hard to say. Chat, would you rather BTJ and Harvey or Brees and Coleman? We're assuming this is redraft. Afraid BTJ after he's out for more than a week, and I have Hunter on the bench. Chat, vote on this one. Brees and Coleman or BTJ Harvey. I think at 3-4, you can't wait on BTJ. I would probably say Brees. Let's see what everybody says. I don't know. BTJ Harvey, BTJ Harvey. Wow, back-to-back BTJ Harvey votes. I was not expecting that. One Brees vote. Yep. I mean, I would say Brees, but honestly, I am very much wavering. I don't want you to think that isn't a damn close call to me. $20 hauler from Thomas Spag. Appreciate you, Spag, for dropping that. Would you deal Genty for Derrick Henry straight up? I probably would at this juncture, bro. Yes. Derrick Henry for Genty. Take Derrick Henry. It is what it is. It's volatile. Things change. Fantasy's ever flowing, ever changing. Adjust and adapt. And while there's risk involved in both sides, I take the bye week free risk in a player that I believe is just on a better team, regardless of if they're playing badly. They're going to change it. They're going to run. What is the recipe for the Ravens to change their fate? Run. See if running will help, and they'll do that. Darnold, Murray, Genty, Hendy, Gordon, JSN, Buka, BTJ, Kelsey, Fannin. Need a running back or punt the position and 2 flex spots. I think I would consider trying to trade BTJ injured right now. Maybe with one of the tight ends, Fannin or Pitts, but it depends. Like some people don't need a tight end at all. It's hard to say. I don't think you're going to get much. You probably have to punt the position, or you're trading JSN for 2 monster pieces, like JSN for Henry and Adams. JSN for Henry. I almost say Henry has to be involved because he's or James Cook or Kyron. Other running backs, I suppose, those are the main ones. Like, those are the guys that have to be involved in this trade. And if you get that running back and you can couple them with another wide receiver that's Adams-like in value, that's when I would consider this team being a good team and candidate to go trade JSN. It would have to be Judkins and Adams. Judkins and Nico injured for JSN and another player, let's say. It would have to be something magnificent. But you might need it, G-Men, because I'll be honest. I'm looking at a team that has JSN and Buka, and I'm looking at a team that's 4-3. And I know Buka went down, but that's still, this team's not winning with JSN. So it might be time to make a move. And that's not what a lot of JSN owners want to hear, because it makes them feel bad to see their guy traded, but they got to understand the context of the situation. Buka's been balling all year. He missed a game. But you're not winning with JSN and Buka. You've got to make a change. Better rest of season, Garrett Wilson or Addison. Probably Addison as a safe call, but higher upside, Garrett Wilson, higher risk. Just got offered Josh Allen, Nico, and Hollywood for Dak and Rice. I would take Josh Allen and maybe not. I'd take Rice and Nico. I'm sorry, Rice and Dak. Sorry, Rice and Dak. I guess, right, chat, right? Rice and Dak, you got to take Rice and Dak. Like, I don't know, man. It's so close, but give me Rice and Dak. I'm wavering on that one. That was so close, bro. Did I miss my super chat? Let's see here. Was that yours that I just did? No. So we just did it. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy, you didn't drop it that long ago, right? Maybe you did. Sorry about the wait, but thank you for the super chat, Jimmy. Jimmy to the moon. All right, let's hit these. We got Ronaldo. Appreciate you. 12 team PPR 6-1. Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Nico, JSN. What wide receivers you have? Rice, Pickens. If you can't start all of those wide receivers down to Pickens, you probably should trade one of them. Just traded Rice and Wandell for JJ. Smitty approved. No, I like Rice over JJ, bro. Not what I would have done. I wouldn't have, especially if you're adding somebody. I mean, Rice is a top 4-3 wide receiver, bro. He just had 2 touchdowns with very little usage. Anything's possible. I definitely love JJ, but I would not have made that trade. I think you know that, though, Ronaldo. I've been a Rashid Rice truther the entire offseason, like beating the drum, leading the charge, but running backs are Hall, Judkins, Woody. You got a really good team. This is also one of those trades. You're 6-1, by the way, if you didn't know. If you didn't remember, you're 6-1. So Rolando, you're doing a great job. So don't think you messed up or anything. But I wouldn't have made this trade personally. I think the chat probably wouldn't have. But you didn't need the extra bye week advantage or anything like that. But it's nice to have. But I probably would have held on to Rashee Rice. I will say this though. I think your team's really good. You're probably wanting to trade one of them wide receivers unless you can start all of them. If you can start all of them, just keep doing what you're doing. But if you can't start Pickens or one of those wide receivers, you got to look to maybe go get a running back to put next to Judkins and make it kind of like an even ship. Hall even with one of them for a big monster. Part of me wonders if you could trade. Damn, you probably could trade Rice for a lot more than you trade JJ. Unfortunately, I think you didn't realize that Rice probably had more market value. You could have maybe traded Rice and Hall and got like a Gibbs or something like that if you threw in something else. But I like your team a lot. You're 6-1. Keep doing your thing. If you can move one of those RBs or wide receivers for an RB like Derrick Henry, I'd consider it. Or Bucky injured or Kyron or Achane. That would work to put next to Judkins. 5-2 team is Gibbs, Harvey, Sharps, running back London, Garrett Wilson, Buka, Tez at wide receiver, Ferguson, Hendy. What moves to make and get out of the bye week apocalypse coming up? 5-2, you're pretty good. You can kind of weather through that. I wouldn't make trades based on bye week apocalypse when you're 5-2. You're weathered for it. Everybody else goes through it too. You might win the week. So London, Buka, love that. Not touching that. Gibbs, not touching that. Let's see. Who's your quarterback? Did you not say? I don't think you did. I mean, look, I'd trade Garrett Wilson and Sharps to the Walker owner. I'd trade Garrett Wilson and Sharps to a non-Walker owner for somebody that's going to give me an Adams or a James Cook or a Derrick Henry, or something like that. But honestly, I'm not trading Book, not trading London, not trading Gibbs. And so your only trade pieces are Garrett Wilson, Charbonnet, Tez, Ferguson, Henry. Maybe Ferguson and Garrett Wilson get you a slight wide receiver upgrade. Maybe that combo gets you an injured Nico. You're 5-2. You're scared of bye weeks. I go trade for somebody with a bye week, or go get a Dunze if you want a bye week free player for Garrett Wilson. I do that straight up. If you got to throw in Ferguson and get a 2-for-2 going, I do that. But I also go after injured Bucky. I also go after injured Nico. I go after injured players. I go after a down playing Kyron. I go after Derrick Henry. He's bye week free and would be fantastic. Those are all moves that I would go after, but you're better off than most people. And, you know, you're worried about the bye week. You've got a real good situation on your hands. Parker, appreciate you. Knicks, Rico, Nico, BTJ, Swift, Chase Brown, JCM, Goddard, Fannin, Burden. What moves can you make? Knicks, Rice, Nico is fantastic. You're going to wait on Nico, unfortunately, but you could entertain trading him, but it's hard. Swift and BTJ for one player is intriguing. I don't think anybody's doing BTJ for anything specific while he's hurt, but if you throw Swift in and they need an RB, they might give you Henry. Swift and BTJ for Henry. Do you even want that? Is Swift outplaying Henry? Yeah. So maybe you don't. I don't know. Depends on how you view Swift. I would say you get Henry in something. I'd say you get Kyron in something. I'd say you get James Cook potentially for Swift and BTJ. You might be able to even get something additional in that. BTJ and Swift could maybe get you. JSN might be tough. London bye week free and something additional potentially. Chase Brown and Swift for one monster running back. Actually, you can't do that because then you'd have no second running back, really. Let's go Chase Brown and BTJ for one James Cook, one Derrick Henry and something, one Kyron Williams. Parker, those are all moves I'd make. Appreciate you with your super chat. What about JSN for Rice and Scatterboo? I would rather have Rice and Scatterboo than JSN, believe it or not. That's really close though, bro. I think the chat's going to be all on different sides of that one. 1 and 6, should I trade Judkins and Nico or Pittman for Henry? I would not trade Judkins for Henry straight up, bro. Like you're going to trade Judkins and Nico or Pittman. First of all, Nico and Pittman are like $100 bill and a $10 bill. So I don't even know why that's being compared. Second of all, Judkins over Henry anyway. And you were contemplating Nico and Judkins for Henry. You would have got lambasted into oblivion. And pick up Tez Mims. I'd pick up Tez. Tez is the easy pickup. Thank you for the super chat. Not Quani, appreciate your super chat. Package Bill with which one of these players, Ladd, Olave, Sharps, Pickens, Penix Jr. for a running back 2. Bowers, Mahomes, Jamar, Harvey. You got a good little core there. Package which one of these with what was it, Bill? Bill and look, no one's trading for Ladd right now. You just hold them. Sharps maybe, but Bill and Olave, because it's a running back wide receiver combo, might get you an Adams, might get you a Bill Olave. Might get you, if you're lucky, a Henry. If you're lucky, a Bill Olave gets you Adams. Bill Olave gets you AJB last week, not this week. Maybe a Buka if you catch someone sleeping. There are people that want to get rid of Buka, guys. You can say that no one's trading Buka in your league. I don't care. I see it every day. So I really don't care about your world where Buka doesn't get traded. Or you own him and I wouldn't trade him. Well, good for you. Then you're smart. But the person that has Buka that's poking around at trades is vulnerable. Olave for a Dunze, I would potentially swap out. Honestly, for me. Nico injured, you could maybe send Bill and Olave for an injured Nico. You never know until you try. London bye week free, playing badly last week. Sure. Adams straight up, I'd do that. Henry straight up, I'd do that. James Cook straight up, I'd do that. Hard to think it happens, but you never know. Kyron Williams, Bill and Olave for Kyron. I've seen way worse than that. My allergies are making my nose, my face itch. I don't know how I didn't have allergies until like 5 years ago, and Smitty 1 and 6. Someone offered me McMillan and Kamara for my Judkins. McMillan and Kamara for my Judkins. I bet they did. Take it or leave it. Leave it. Tell them to kick rocks. Slam the door in their face. What are you doing? What are you going to trade a hat trick 3 touchdown Judkins for? Running backs are Bucky, Judkins. Yeah. Wide receivers Ladd, Rice, Sutton, Hunter, Warren. I like this. Ask for more? No, don't even do it. It's not. There's not enough. This is not even on the right track. Like, you can add in an additional Kamara, and I don't care. I don't want it. I don't want you doing the trade. Absolutely not. You go after a different player. Like, you're trading Judkins. You're trying to go get like Henry and a player. You know what I mean? Like, Judkins alone for Henry and an additional player. And a player has to be significant. Judkins alone for James Cook and maybe something. Judkins alone for Javonte and something. You don't get it, you walk away. Goff and Myers for Dart. And congratulations. I'm not meaning to yell at you. Let me yell at you and say that you have an amazing player on your hands, and congratulations in putting yourself in this position. But definitely don't ruin it, right? Goff and Myers for Dart. I'd take either side. I'd take either side. You like Goff a little bit more, take Goff. He's safer. Dart's upside is nice. He's been playing like QB3 in back-to-back weeks, but he does have lack of weapons. I'd probably say Goff side. Goff is definitely safer. Very, very close. All right, we're caught up on supers. That took a while. Thank you, and I'm sorry for some of you that waited such a long period of time. It takes a while to get through that many super chats, and I'm very grateful and appreciative. And as you've known, I've changed my bedside manner. When somebody says, Smitty, you missed my super chat, I don't get mad or scream or yell. I say thank you. Thank you. And so I apologize for anybody that had to wait a long period of time for their super chat to be answered, but we're doing it live. Yeah. So what is it? 7 o'clock. We'll be back at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, sorry. This is the 8 p.m. show. We'll be back at midnight Eastern. I'm not necessarily leaving right this second, but I'm just letting you know that I'll be back at midnight Eastern. We'll probably draft and go over. Maybe we'll do a little bit of waiver wire touch-ups walking into the coming show tonight. The waiver wire board, we did screenshot this. Obviously, Tez needs to be added to this list. This was the waiver wire board we chicken scratched earlier. Gadsden, Hunter, Stafford, Dart. Tez probably needs to be put. If he's not already on this list, he might be. Tez needs to be on this list. We had the Mike Evans injury. There's other players that may or may not have been added at the moment when this thing was created, but this is a quick little gander at what we cooked up, at least walking out of the Sunday night game when we didn't have some of the information that we have now, like Tez. Tez would probably be in the top 3 or 4 of the additions there. Traded away Wan'Dale Robinson and Devontae Smith for Kyron. I love that trade. That's a great job. Joe, I don't know how to say your name. Thank you. Smitty got offered Swift and Olave for my Jefferson. I would rather have JJ. Somebody was trying to trade Olave and Swift earlier, and I said, go get JJ. It might be tough, but see, you're trying to do it on the other side of that. I'd rather have JJ. I think Swift is worthy of our pause and consideration, though. He's playing very well. Drake May and Jaden Daniels. I'd rather have Drake May right now. Thank you. Appreciate you as well. Tez MVP season, maybe, pal. I don't know about that, but we like him. Tez is nice, exciting player. He reminds us of Tank Dell. Will he hold up? Probably not. I mean, that's kind of been proven. $140, $150, going to be tough to hold up in the NFL. But for a short period of time, he could definitely ball and do well. He'll definitely do well right now. But is Tez going to be a locked-in wide receiver 3 for fantasy for 10 years? No. Would you trade Woody Adams for a Dunze Barkley? I would probably rather have a Dunze Barkley. I'd take the gamble on Barkley at the downgrade of Adams into bye-week free Roma Dunze, who's volatile, but we like him a lot. He's beholden to Caleb, but unfortunately, that can not work out some weeks, but I do definitely take the chance on Barkley at that cost of downgrade. Adams to a Dunze is not that bad. Still a very solid player. He's a top 10 wide receiver on occasion. We all feel that way from week to week. based on if Adunze has 100 yards and a touchdown, he's a top 12 wide receiver. If he doesn't the next week, everybody hates him. Like, Adunze's trash right now compared to last week's value, or about 10 days ago. So it is what it is. And Husseini with another super chat. Husseini with a $10 hauler says, okay, Smitty rejected him. Now he's offering, what is he doing now? Now he's offering me Adams and Kamara or Adams and Hubbard for my Judkins. I bet he is. I look, Adams and Kamara, chat, vote on this, Husseini, just so you know it's not just me. Chat, Adams and Kamara or Judkins, please vote in the chat. He also has Barkley and London. Anything of value is worth getting for Judkins. If I'm trading Judkins, I want Barkley and Adams, or I'm not doing it. And even then, it's probably a very risky move. And if he doesn't want to do it, you tell him, trick. Just whisper sweet nothings into his ear. Trick. 3-touchdown hat trick. I mean, who's trading Judkins off a 3-touchdown hat trick for anything less than a bad playing Barkley? You tell him that, Husseini, a bad playing Barkley and Adams. And even then, let's see if the chat would do it. Husseini needs a move. Does he trade trick Judkins for Adams and Barkley? I don't know that the chat's even going to like that one, Husseini, but that would be more intriguing to me. And you are the man, the myth, the legend. Make him overpay. Maybe you're trading London and Barkley for Judkins. How about them apples? How about London? Adams, London. I like the way you think. Let's get greedy. I would take Barkley and London for Judkins. Absolutely. Because London, look, if London had another big game, everybody'd be saying London is as good as Judkins. One game goes by, everybody's like, no, London sucks now. Okay, we'll see how you feel next week against the Dolphins? Great matchup it's the Dolphins, right? Falcons, Dolphins, yeah, and it's in Atlanta. So, Husseini, just make him overpay. If he says, I'm not giving you London and Barkley, say Barkley's a throw-in. What are you talking about? Judkins over London. And if he says, no, but yeah, okay, that's why you're trying to come get Judkins from me. I'm not a moron. He's a 3-touchdown hat trick monster. And London did nothing last week. And Penix Jr. injured, and who knows how that offense is going to function. So you go get Barkley in London. You're getting 2 bad playing players. Like I'm selling myself away from this trade. But you're getting 2 bad playing players for trick Judkins. Husseini, that's the kind of, moxie you need when you walk in there and discuss this trade. 12-team, 3 wide receivers, 2 and 5. Any advice? Hurts, Achane, Jalen Warren, JSN, JJ Adunze. Good wide receivers. Benches, Hendy, Harvey. Not much to move here. Probably going to tell you, probably going to tell you that that you stand down on this one. I mean, Jalen Warren and maybe an Adunze for one slightly better James Cook, Derrick Henry, Kyron, injured Bucky. I do that, TDs, but there's nothing else for you to move. Stand down past that type of potential situation. Adams and Barkley still okay. Husseini, I don't love that one as much as London. And London being bye week free is just a huge advantage to you. London and Barkley. And if you threw something very small back, I'd be okay with that, but it better be small. All right, guys, I'll be back at midnight Eastern. Appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to get on over to the 24/7 live chat Patreon. It's where we discuss stuff all day long, 365, 24/7. Smash that link. Do it live. Appreciate you all. The link's in the description of the video as well as being dropped in the live chat. I'll pin it on the way out the door. Also, don't forget, tonight we'll be drafting on Underdog. Play 5, get 100 on Underdog. Smash this link right here. Here's the link. Hit it. Do it live. Boom. There it is. Hit it. See you all tonight on Underdog. We'll be drafting on Underdog. That link, you know, Code Smitty gets it done as well. Play 5, get 100. The link, again, just dropped in the live chat. It's in the description. Play 5, get 100. We'll be drafting tonight. See you all there. Travis, thank you. Travis will be on the Patreon. I will be on the Patreon. So make sure you hit that link that's pinned in the live chat, and it's in the description to join the Patreon. $10 a month. We'll go over to the Patreon right now. And see you all later. I'll take phone calls tonight. Sorry I didn't take any phone calls. Was just trying to power through those supers. And, you know, there goes 2 hours. So tonight we'll be doing some phone calls. See you all then. But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs's workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to.
What is that smell? Someone needs me.
Help! Help! I'm going to lose my fantasy week! Somebody help! Call the Scat Man!
He's the Scat Man. He's scatting all around. Scoring loads when he's called upon. He will ground and pound. Scat Man, yeah. He's the guy you call when things go astray. Scat Man can score all day. He's the Scat Man. Scat Man. Scat Man. Scat Man. Scat Man will score TDs. He will make you get on your knees and say, please, Scat Man, I beg no more. I've had enough of your touchdown galore. Please, Scat Man, I beg no more. I've had enough of your touchdown galore.
See you all tonight, midnight. Deuce.